Hey, this is Steve. We met with Premier Guitar here at the Overloud booth with TH1. It's a new guitar plug-in. We want to talk a little bit about this. I have Simon here. Simon, can you tell us a little bit about the beginnings of this, where this came up from, and what we have, what we're looking at?
Well, to make a long story short, our DSP developers have a really long experience in tube emulation and analog emulation, more than 10 years of experience with other companies and even on our own. We licensed a lot around, and we are now ready to make our own stuff. So we are basing everything everything with good sound. So we believe we have a very advanced technology in emulating the warmth of tubes and the whole rig. So that's the first point. It's really sound. Then of course we kind of looked what was around on the market, and we felt that there was some kind of separation between what we feel a guitarist would like to have, what a guitarist is used to have.
Okay, that's great.
The market was given them. So we tried to figure out a new user interface, a new concept of user interface to have a better workflow for guitarists, not for rocket scientists.
Excellent, okay.
That's about it.
Well, let's take a look at the screen here. What are we looking at?
Sure. We have on the upper side, we have the preset management, which is divided in banks, sounds, and variations. So it's very easy to create a variation on a sound like the one a normal guitarist will have, between a verse and the bridge and the chorus and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So it's conceptually, it's very easy to deal with.
All right.
Then we have the overview of the whole signal path.
So you can actually see the whole setup like it's actually at a stage or a studio.
Yeah, that's the point. And then on the other panel, you see the added view, which is of course a zoomed-in version,
right?
Which you can of course deal with when working with editing the single parameters.
Now up on the top, are we seeing this in a signal flow view, basically, from guitar into the amp and then out?
You can also work on the signal path on the top view, so it's not just an overview, but it's also a working tool. So,
okay.
For example, you can move around stuff very easily. You can swap. You can copy stuff rather easily.
Oh, cool! Very cool.
You can get rid of stuff. It's
just drag it right out. And
it's very easy to deal with, basically. On the lower part, you just edit out what's not editable on the upper part. So.
Okay. Can we take a look at some of the amp models?
Definitely. We are announcing here at the NAMM show the 1.1 version shipping next month, and we are adding 2 new amplifiers. We have the vintage style amplifiers, the more modern rock heavy kind of amplifiers.
Right. Are they modeled off of any particular amps, and then you're just basically not telling us what they are, but assuming?
We rather can't, in a way,
I understand.
You can figure them out.
Sure.
I mean, you have the Fender style kind of thing, you have the Marshall style, the Vox, the new stuff is a Bass Phase 59. I guess
nice.
You can get the idea.
I get it.
EXTC is another pretty clear idea on what it is. It's
sure.
A very high level kind of boutique amplifier.
And how deep can you get into the actual models?
Well, we decided not to get too deep, not to the tube kind of
component level
kind of thing, because we felt that this is rocket scientist for most of us guitarists.
That's a good point.
So we're trying to get the tone right. We don't want you to make it right. You want
less is more in a way.
So, the kind of depth we are getting through is really the one you get on the front panels of the amplifiers.
Okay. So you have your amps there, you have your amp models, and obviously you have cabinets and microphones and effects.
We have actually some really unique features which I want to show you.
Excellent, let's see them.
It's actually 2. One was shipping with 1.0, it's SLR, Seamless Live Remodeler. So it's basically a morphing, so a real-time creation of a hybrid amplifier.
Oh, that's interesting.
On 2 different models. So, we don't get to the very techy kind of tweaking, but with this simple control, any guitarist can really get very different sounding amplifiers, non-existent amplifiers.
So you're basically, you're going between 2 different amps, and you can control how much percentage of each one you have.
Yeah, that's the idea. So, full amp A on the left, full amp B on the right, and everything in between is creating an hybrid amplifier based on the characteristics of the two. So you could, for example, select a clean Fenderish sound and a very distorted, modern, heavy metal kind of sound, and try to clean up a bit the heavy metal sound, giving it a Fenderish shimmer or something like that.
With some of the attack of the other.
Yeah, that's the idea. Of course, this is not blending. If you want to blend stuff,
oh, I see.
Of course, we can basically have two amplifiers loaded over here. I'm sorry.
So one is morphing and the other is blending. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. In this way, you have two parallel paths, so you have two amplifiers, and that's the place you're going to blend things. In 1.1, it's not ready yet on this version we have here. We'll have a splitter over here, which will allow you to split the signal and balance out the splitting signal between the upper and lower path, but also it will work as like a crossover, either a low pass, high pass crossover, or a band pass, band reject kind of crossover. So you'll be able to have like the low frequencies with one amplifier or one cabinet, and the higher frequencies. You know, it's going to be very kind of sexy in a way, the things you can do.
So can I ask you real quick, what platforms is this available for, and what plug-in format?
Plug-in formats, pretty much everything. We have
RTAS, VST?
RTAS, and audio units, both on PC and Mac, of course. No audio units for PC. It's standalone version too. Great pluses, let me add, are the very low CPU consumption. Very low. I mean, compared to the competition, it's very, very good.
Excellent.
Especially seeing the sound quality.
That's great.
The practically non-existent internal latency. Only the amplifier adds 4 samples of latency.
4 samples?
Yeah. All of the other models don't add any latency by themselves. So it's really up to the audio hardware and your computer performance to get the latency very low. One last thing, really last things, we are the only ones on the market to have 3D positioning.
See, that's very cool.
So you can you can also work on the distance. That's very advanced.
I mean, I can see, yeah, that's
really
never seen that before.
Yeah, you can really get the studio-like kind of experience. And
can you change the rooms that they're in as well?
Oh yeah, we have
like a wood floor.
Selection of ambience types, which get added proportionally to the distance of the microphone from the cabinet. So it's really lifelike in a way. This is emulated, of course, but it gets to be very lifelike.
That's fantastic.
Last thing is the smart control strip. You can assign anything over in your signal path to these 8 smart controls, so they can act either as amp switchers, amp channel switcher, amp switcher, full kind of preset switching system, easy wah-wah control, of course, but also very complex control of many parameters at the same time. And all of this is very easy to map to your MIDI foot controller. I mean, we have a very, down-to-earth Behringer controller here. It's very cheap, and we were able to map 2 continuous controllers to very freely assignable kind of things, but also to variation switch, so preset switch, and also to the smart switches. So at the same time, you can change memory preset, change things inside of the
That's excellent.
And stuff like that. So
that's very cool. So can you tell us where we can find this more on the web?
Well, you can find us on at www.overloud.com. There's a 14-day fully working demo downloadable. The plugin is available for a list price of $349 or 249 euros, and it's available in the US through Ilio, ilio.com. So check it out.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Simon. And have a great show. This is Steve Ouimet for Premier Guitar, and we'll see you soon.